I never would have dreamed that the girl I'd play online games with for 3 years was a cold Billionaire CEO. She didn't just grind levels with me in the game. We wore matching couples outfits and even founded a guild together. Before she appeared in my life, no girl ever wanted to get close to me. She was the only one who didn't judge. To avoid unwanted attention, I deliberately created a character with an ugly face in the game. I thought she was different from other women, that she wouldn't judge a book by its cover. So, I worked up the courage to meet her in real life. I never expected that the in-game partner I had fought alongside for 3 years was actually my boss. What caught me even more off guard was that before I could even propose meeting up, she removed me from my position as co-leader of our guild. I froze, my hand on the mouse, and quickly asked her why. Her voice was calm but cold. "You're just a support player. The guild needs a stronger co-leader to grow." Her tone was firm, each word a shard of ice to my heart. I clenched my fists, an unspeakable tightness rising in my chest. To be honest, when I first started this game, I never intended to become a co-leader. The game's virtual landscapes were stunningly beautiful. I initially just wanted to explore the scenery, but a chance encounter with Artemis led me to unexpectedly become the co-leader. I forced myself to learn monster laying skills and handle all sorts of tedious guild affairs, just to fight alongside her. I stayed up all night grinding for materials, studying guild war strategies, and relentlessly practicing my skills just to become stronger. I put in so much effort all to stand shoulder to shoulder with her, and now she was suddenly casting me aside. My hand stiffened on the mouse as I stared at the pop-up on the screen asking if I wanted to voluntarily resign as co-leader. Before I could even make a decision, a server-wide announcement suddenly flashed. Artemis has decided to remove Npilo from the position of co-leader and appoint Orion as the new co-leader. Immediately after, another announcement blared. "Let's give a round of applause to our new co-leader." The two announcements, appearing almost simultaneously, were particularly jarring. The name Nebula, once as renowned as Artemis, vanished in an instant, my rank plummeting due to the drastic drop in power. After the meeting ended, Artemis sent me a private message, telling me to meet her at the Lover's Oak, a place specifically for managing in-game relationships. My heart skipped a beat. When I arrived, she got straight to the point. "Let's break up our in-game marriage." My heart felt like it was being crushed by a boulder, and I couldn't breathe. I tried to reason with her. "The relationship quest only has 1 week left. Are you sure you want to end it now?" In the game, there was an achievement called Eternal Vow, which required a couple to stay together for 3 consecutive years and complete the relationship quest to obtain. Due to the long time commitment and strict conditions, no one had achieved it since the server launch. When we first paired up, we had started that quest. I never thought that a goal that once seemed so distant was now only 7 days away. And she wanted to give up. Artemis said lightly, "It's just an achievement. If we lose it, we lose it." With that, she decisively clicked to dissolve our bond. A system notification popped up. "Your partner, Artemis, has requested to dissolve your relationship at the Lover's Oak. The bond is deep, but fate is thin. Take care of yourselves." My heart clenched in pain. "Artemis, can we not do this? I've liked you for the past 3 years. My voice trembled. A last-ditch effort. But my plea was met with dead silence. The quiet was suffocating. Artemis looked at me silently, a flicker of complexity crossing her beautiful face. Finally, she spoke coldly. "I told you before, we paired up for the quests. It didn't matter who it was." She paused, her gaze growing more complicated. It wasn't until Orion came back that I understood the true meaning of a partner. My heart suddenly edged. My voice trembling, I asked her, "Then what about me? I've been with you for 3 years. I've given you all my affection. In your eyes, what am I?" Artemis just left a cold sorry and held out her hand. A pair of scissors materialized in her palm. To sever the bond of love, both partners had to cut the thread. Unexpectedly, she handed the scissors to me. "You cut it." I gripped the scissors tightly, looking into her eyes, which held not a trace of reluctance, only cold indifference. Tears immediately welled up. With a slight pressure from my hand, the red thread symbolizing our fate snapped. The next second, the server-wide chat channel erupted. Server announcement: Nebula and Artemis have officially dissolved their partnership. Their journey together has ended. May they each find peace. Artemis gave a slight nod, and then vanished. The world chat instantly exploded. The goddess Artemis finally dumped that freeloader. I heard he lost his co-leader position too. He's definitely getting kicked from the guild. Nebula is such a loser, ugly and disgusting. He should have been gone ages ago. I stood there in a daze, the words like needles stabbing my heart, the pain making my whole body tremble. I was about to log off in a stupor when another system notification popped up. Artemis has set off a firework display for Orion, lighting up the night sky with a brilliant cascade of light. Everyone is invited to enjoy this beautiful scene. As soon as the announcement was made, bursts of fireworks exploded across the sky, their radiant light raining down like a meteor shower. Gradually, the sparks formed a sweet confession. Orion, I like you. The world chat went wild. Whoa, that one firework cost $13–14. Goddess Artemis is so indulgent. If you want to know if a woman loves you, see if she's willing to spend money on you. Nebula was with Artemis for 3 years and never saw so much as a sparkler, let alone a firework display. Come on, look at Nebula. He probably had to pay Artemis to be with him. I stared numbly at the screen. The scrolling comments cut deeper than any knife. The brilliant fireworks were more painful than any mockery. I suddenly remembered someone once said, when you like someone, you should rush towards them like the wind. It seemed Artemis really liked Orion. Otherwise, why would she rush to find him the moment we broke up? But I really liked her too. I had been with her for 3 years. Did I not have even a small place in her heart? I was silent for a long time before finally sending Artemis a message. We're in the same city. Let's meet tomorrow. Just once. At least let me give this unrequited love a proper ending. After a long wait, she replied with a single word. Okay. The next day, I woke up very early to get ready to meet her. It had been a long time since I'd taken care of my appearance. I looked up tutorials online, clumsily grooming myself, carefully picking out an outfit, even putting on the suit my parents gave me for my graduation. Taking a deep breath, I pushed open the door and went outside. On the street, almost everyone who saw me did a double date. Whoa, is that a celebrity? Are they filming something? I don't see any cameras. Quick, take a picture and look him up online. Someone that handsome must be famous. Hearing the murmurs around me, I lowered my head and quickened my pace. Even though I knew they meant no harm, it still felt uncomfortable. I arrived an hour before our scheduled time. I messaged Laura, Artemis's real name. I'm here. When will you get here? She simply replied, in a bit. I put my phone away and waited quietly. Half an hour passed, and the crowd of onlookers grew larger, all sorts of gazes fixed on me. Some stared openly, others pretended to glance over while sizing me up. I quietly put on a face mask and messaged Laura again. How much longer will you be? This time, she didn't reply. I didn't press her and continued to wait patiently. But I waited until it got dark, until even the last subway train had departed. Laura never showed up. With no other choice, I had to leave. As soon as I got home, I was hit by a wave of exhaustion. I put on my headset to log into the game, wanting to ask Laura why she stood me up. But as soon as I logged in, I saw the homepage announcement. Orion and Artemis are currently duo clearing a dungeon. My heart sank. I clicked on the live stream. The screen was flooded with comments like so sweet, and they look so good together. Did you guys see that? Artemis let herself get hit by a mob just to run over and block a hit for Orion. If that's not love, I don't know what is. It used to be Nebula taking all the damage for Artemis. See, this is the difference between Prince Charming and a toad. Don't compare Nebula to my hero. He's not worthy. Orion laughed and said to the audience, everyone, stop teasing Artemis, you'll make her sad. Then he added, oh, Artemis, didn't you have plans to meet Nebula tonight? Are you going to make it? Oh my god. Nebula was going to meet Artemis. With that face. He'd scare her to death. The thought of that ugly monster getting stood up while Artemis is here playing games with Orion is hilarious. What a clown. I stared intently at the live stream, hearing Artemis say dismissively, he's not important. Those 3 words were quickly drowned out by the game's sounds but landed heavily on my heart. All the memories of the past 3 years came flooding back at that moment. I remembered when we used to team up for dungeons. My character, Nebula, would always stand in front of Artemis without hesitation. During the summer festival, rowing on the lake, she picked the most beautiful lotus flower for me in the couples competition and gently pinned it to my chest. On New Year's Eve, as snow fell, we stayed up together to welcome the new year. Those beautiful memories were now covered in a layer of dust, turning dim. It turned out that the affection they cherished was worthless in her eyes. I quietly logged out of the game, tears streaming down my face. At that moment, Laura, having just finished her live stream work, was about to make coffee when her phone buzzed with a notification for a trending topic in the city. The entire internet was buzzing. Who was this handsome guy waiting for? She opened the video and saw a tall young man standing on a street corner, his short black hair neat and tidy. Just from his back, you could tell he was incredibly handsome. The person who posted the video was furious, directly cursing the guy this handsome got stood up for a whole afternoon. Who was so blind as to stand him up. The comment section exploded. It was spreading all over Austin. I saw it with my own eyes. At first, I thought they were filming a movie. But it turns out he was just waiting for someone. It makes me so mad. Unless the person who stood him up was saving the world, I can't forgive them. The video angle shifted, showing the young man's side profile. He was wearing a mask, his long eyelashes fluttering slightly as if in a helpless sigh. In that moment, it felt like a magical force struck her heart. The coffee cup in Laura's hand suddenly fell onto the table. As she scrambled to clean it up, she noticed a corner of a cafe in the video. Wasn't that the coffee shop where Nabila had asked to meet her? Laura's heart sank. She quickly opened her messaging app and saw the message Nabila had sent her that afternoon. How much longer will you be? She had never replied. Laura immediately sent me a message. Are you there? No reply. She called me. Seeing the 3 words Laura on the screen, I stared for a moment, hesitating for a long time before answering, my voice a bit hoarse. What's up? Hearing my strange voice, Laura clearly paused for a moment, her tone becoming cautious. How long did you wait for me today? I fell silent, not answering. Remembering the pathetic sight of myself waiting from noon till night, the humiliating truth was too hard to voice. In the end, out of the last shred of my pride, I lied. Not long. Hearing this, Laura let out a sigh of relief, but then a hint of disappointment followed. I guess that person online wasn't you. Laura cleared her throat, reminding me, even though you're not the co-leader anymore, you're still a member of the guild. Don't forget your responsibilities. With that, she hung up. Hearing the long dial tone, I stood in the darkness, stunned. A stinging sensation filled my nose. I put on my VR headset and logged in. I was supposed to do guild quests. But for some reason, I opened the guild store first. Quietly sitting in my account were over 140 contribution points I had painstakingly accumulated over the years for the guild. I had originally planned to save up 150 points to exchange for a set of warrior gear for Artemis. But now, I stared at the screen, hesitating for a moment, before finally clicking open the materials warehouse to make an exchange. Deciding to return to being a casual player. I joined the guild back then for Artemis. Now she had a new co-leader and a new partner. I didn't want to stay anymore, to save myself the awkwardness. Before leaving, I decided to use up all my points. After exchanging for materials, I went to the tavern in the city to buy some food. This game was so realistic. You could even clearly taste the food. Just as I sat down, I heard a familiar voice from the next table. Orion, it looks like you've got Artemis wrapped around your finger. Once you two are official, you'll be the top dog's husband. Orion chuckled in response. I never planned on being with her. You know the rules of playing hard to get, right? You have to be hot and cold to keep a woman hooked. If we actually got together, how would I get her to keep spending money on me? My whole body went stiff, stunned by their conversation. Just then, the screen in front of me was suddenly pushed hard, making a loud crack. I snapped my head around to see Orion looking at me with a mocking smile. Nabila, what are you doing here? Since we've run into each other, want to join us? Artemis likes you so much, how can you treat her like that? I couldn't help but confront him. Orion said nothing, but his friend cursed at me first. Have you no shame? Eavesdropping on our conversation. I'm warning you. If you dare let this get out. Before he could finish, Orion gave my plain-looking character a cold glance. So what if you hurt? Even if you tell Artemis, do you think she'll believe you? A wave of laughter erupted around us. I clenched my fists and turned to leave. Even if Artemis didn't like me, I couldn't just stand by and watch her genuine feelings be trampled on like this. I messaged Artemis, saying I wanted to meet, but she told me to come back to the guild hall first, and we'd talk there. I rushed back to the guild. I found everyone gathered in the main hall. As soon as I stepped in, I was met with the cold glares of everyone present. Artemis's face was dark and terrifying. Beside her, someone sneered. Oh, the traitor who stole the Holy Grail dares to come back. Why waste words on him? That was the Holy Grail we fought so hard to get, and this ugly freak stole it. He must be bitter about getting kicked by the guild leader, and is using these dirty tricks to get revenge. So stupid and evil. These vicious words were like daggers piercing me. I stood there, stunned, completely clueless about what was happening. Orion suddenly spoke up coldly. Nabila, you're just in time. Hand over the Holy Grail you stole, or don't even think about staying in this guild. It was only then that I realized. Orion was playing the victim. I quickly explained, I didn't take it. And never even touched the Holy Grail. Before I could finish, Orion cut me off, his voice laced with a mix of helplessness and pity. My friend saw you with his own eyes, carrying a golden, sparkling cup and sneaking away. He then added with a sincere look, Nabila, I know you hate me, but you can't take your anger out on the entire guild. As soon as he said this, the hall erupted. Nabila, are you just jealous that Orion is handsome and kind? Jealous that everyone likes him? Someone laughed coldly. You ugly thing, give back the Holy Grail, or don't blame us for getting raw. I stood there silently, my ears filled with shrill taunts, my heart itching as if stabbed. 3 years of dedicated effort, in exchange for this kind of suspicion. What hurt the most was that among them, many were players I had personally mentored. I slowly turned my head to look at Artemis. My eyes filled with incomprehension. You don't believe me either. Artemis was silent, just staring at me with cold eyes. Her gaze was as sharp as a knife, leaving me speechless. After a long while, I looked down at Orion, my heart empty. Finally, I could only say helplessly, so what do you want me to do? The corner of Orion's mouth curled into a smile. Since you said it wasn't you, I don't want to wrongly accuse you. How about you open your inventory in front of everyone? That way, you can prove your innocence. I knew he just wanted to humiliate me. Who would willingly let others go through their personal inventory? The feeling was no different from having your luggage inspected in front of a crowd in real life, painful and humiliating. Orion was doing this just to force me to leave on my own. But he didn't expect that I was already planning to leave. It was just that before I left, I didn't want to be branded a thief. I clenched my fists and still opened my inventory. When the inventory interface appeared, a transparent panel materialized in front of everyone. The item pages flipped one by one, with no sign of the Holy Grail. Besides a few daily necessities, the only thing that stood out was a pair of sparkling, legendary grade trinkets. The Phoenix Love Jades. Seeing this pair of jades, everyone gasped. It was a rare accessory. There were less than 10 on the entire server. I could only smile wryly at the scene. This was supposed to be my 3-year anniversary gift for Artemis, but now it seemed she no longer needed it. Artemis remained silent, but I noticed a flicker of complex emotion in her eyes. I calmly closed my inventory and turned to everyone. Now that you've all seen it, am I cleared? No one answered, and I didn't care. I quietly organized my things, opened the system interface, and directly clicked the Leave Guild button. A system notification popped up. Player Nebula, confirm leaving the Crimson Vanguard Guild. From here on, our paths diverge. Take care. I immediately hit confirm. A server-wide announcement followed. Top support player Nebula has left the Crimson Vanguard Guild. The guild's rank has dropped by 2. We hope all members will continue to strive to uphold the guild's honor. This sudden turn of events left everyone stunned. Immediately, someone whispered, leaving the guild over such a small thing. Ugly and arrogant. I stood there for a few seconds, clearly having a lot I wanted to say, but in the end, I just let out a soft laugh, turned, and walked out of the hall. This place I had poured my heart into, I swore I would never return. After logging out, I took off my VR headset. The familiar room came back into view. The events that had just transpired felt like a dream, but the dull itch in my chest reminded me it was all real. I forced myself not to think about the troubles in the game, picked up my drawing tablet, and continued working on my design. After several hours of fighting a deadline, the work was finally done. Just as I was about to send the design to Laura, my hand accidentally clicked on her social media profile. The latest post was from an hour ago, a photo of her intimately leaning against a guy. The caption read, Orion, it took me 6 years to get to you. Because you love playing games. I worked hard to learn game design. I stared at the photo for a long time, suddenly understanding. The game character I was designing was actually something Laura had specially prepared for Orion. With my reputation as an artist, the commission fee should have been much higher, but because it was Laura's request, I had agreed to a lower price for this complex project. But now, I felt all my efforts were meaningless. After a long silence, I opened my chat with Laura and slowly typed a line. Evans, I'm sorry, but due to personal reasons, I cannot continue with this project. I will pay the breach of contract fee as stipulated. The moment I sent the message, she sent several replies, but I didn't read any of them. I checked my bank account and found that after paying the penalty, the remaining amount was alarmingly low. I started to panic, thinking I needed to find a new project quickly. I would probably have to play less of the game for a while. I was busy all day. Before going to bed, Laura suddenly called. I hesitated for a moment, before answering, my voice calm as I said, "What's up?" The other end of the line clearly paused for a moment before her low voice came through. "Mr. Hayes, I am downstairs at your apartment. Can we talk about canceling the contract in person?" I figured she got my address from my agent. After some thought, I decided to let her come up. The moment I opened the door, I felt her undisguised, scrutinizing gaze. She asked suspiciously, "Mr. Hayes, you wear a mask even at home?" I replied calmly, "Seasonal allergies." I just wanted to resolve this quickly, and completely cut ties with her. As I was making tea, Laura's voice came from behind me. "Mr. Hayes, you play this game too?" I turned around. Her eyes were fixed on my gaming setup. I lowered my voice. "I haven't played in a while." She glanced at the headset that was still charging, her eyes darkening for a moment before she immediately turned back and said, "If you think the contract termination fee is unreasonable, I can pay you 10 times the market rate. That's my final offer." But for me, drawing has never been about the money. I replied coolly, "If Ms. Evan can afford that price, you can easily find another studio to work with." Laura frowned, a little confused. "We've always worked well together. Why do you have to cancel the contract?" My heart clenched tightly, my emotions overflowing. I'm heartbroken. I can't draw. Is that reason clear enough? As soon as I finished speaking, the room fell eerily silent. Laura stared in stunned silence at the man before her. Even though the mask covered more than half his face, his eyes were incredibly beautiful, the kind you couldn't forget after just one look. She felt a sense of familiarity but couldn't place where she had seen them before, as if separated by a thin veil of fog. Laura cleared her throat. "I'll give you 3 days to think it over. 3 days from now, decide whether you want to continue our partnership." The door opened and closed, leaving only the soft click of the lock behind her. On the table, the teacup was still steaming, but the person was already gone. Logging into the game again, I appeared in the beginner's area of the main city. My crafting, alchemy, and fishing skills were all maxed out. That pair of Phoenix Love Jades was something I had crafted myself. As a life skills player, I set up a stall in the market district, selling some basic equipment. Business was pretty good. Just then, a familiar figure approached, dressed flamboyantly. It was Orion. Seeing him, I was reminded of the picture from the day before on Laura's social media. I hadn't looked closely yesterday, but today I noticed that Orion's side profile looked a bit like me in real life. I frowned and asked coldly, "What do you want?" "Sell me that pair of legendary jades," Orion said in a commanding tone. "They're just relationship items anyway. They're useless to you now. Name your price." He held up his hand, signaling a price that was almost half the market value. I couldn't be bothered to argue with him and directly refused. "Not for sale." After my rejection, his face immediately darkened. "I advise you to reconsider, or you'll regret it." But he remained indifferent. After all, I had no feelings left for Artemis. I really couldn't think of anything else that could hurt me. But unexpectedly, when I left the city to gather materials, I was suddenly surrounded by a group of people. The warrior in the lead glared at me fiercely. "So it's you. Ugly on the outside, and a dark heart on the inside. Our hero Orion tried to buy something from you, and you took the deposit and ran. You think you can bully our hero? Did you ask for our permission? Brothers, let's go, kill this ugly freak and get revenge for our hero." Without another word, they immediately surrounded me and started to attack. Even though I was the strongest support player in the game, they had overwhelming numbers. In the end, I was killed and sent back to the revival point. After reviving, I checked the forums. Only then did I understand what had happened. It turned out Orion had intentionally spread rumors during his live stream, claiming I took his money and ran. In the video, he was crying pitifully. "I just wanted to repay Artemis by buying back Nebula's jades." He clearly agreed, took the deposit, and then suddenly backed out and blocked me. His fans immediately exploded. This kind of scam needs to be reported to the police. Bad guys are always the ones to play dirty. "Nebula, you bastard without a family. Who's with me to teach this ugly freak a lesson?" Staring at the screen filled with vicious insults, I clenched my fists. I finally understood now. Orion didn't just want me out of the guild, he wanted to erase me from this game world entirely. He wouldn't even give me the chance to be a casual player. I loudly proclaimed my innocence on the server-wide channel. I never took his deposit. "If you're going to slander me, show me the proof." Unexpectedly, this was met with a wave of ridicule. "That's hilarious. Are you going to believe a handsome guy would make things up? Or are you going to believe I'm the reincarnation of George Washington? Orion is handsome and rich, even the great Artemis protects him. Why would he need to frame a loser who's already been kicked from his guild?" I heard he was kicked for stealing the Holy Grail. He has a record. The rumors just get more and more outrageous. Eventually, the narrative twisted into me being a public thief. What chilled me to the bone was that among the people who had stood by my side for 3 years, the teammates I had fought with, not a single one spoke up for me. I was trapped in a cycle of being killed, alone and helpless. All around me were roars of anger. Even though the game only had 10 pain sensitivity, being beaten repeatedly was becoming almost unbearable. A normal person would have given up long ago, but I was stubborn. I died again and again, responding only to face the same pain, but I refused to hand over the jades. Surrounded once again, I was cornered when I saw Artemis in the crowd. She shouted coldly, "Everyone, stop." The crowd instantly froze. She walked up to me, her tone firm. "No one is to touch him." Her words brought me a wave of comfort, as if she were still protecting me like she used to. My eyes immediately welled up, my voice catching in my throat. But in the next second she looked down at me, her eyes icy, and said flatly, "Hand it over and we'll call this even." My whole body went rigid. I looked at her in disbelief, my lips trembling. "E2. You think I would do something like that? For 3 years, we had each other's backs. Every time you gave me a useful item, I gave you a rare cosmetic in return. In your eyes, would I really betray my word for a little bit of money?" Artemis said nothing. Just then Orion stepped out from behind her, gently tugging her sleeve, his handsome face full of grievance. "Artemis, maybe we should just drop it. I don't need the money anymore." The moment he spoke, the hesitation in Artemis's eyes vanished. She looked at me coldly, her gaze sharp as a blade. "In that case, don't blame me." Before she finished her sentence, she opened the game interface and issued a server-wide announcement. A bounty was placed on Nebula. $5 real-world dollars for every kill. The entire server exploded. Holy crap, $5 a head. Our goddess is really going all out for her man. Brothers, let's go get that bounty. Who said ugly guys have it easy? Nebula's head is worth more than the final boss. Hearing the jokes and gasps around me, my heart grew colder and colder. Each word of the bounty announcement pinned above my head felt like a knife in my heart, more painful than being hunted before. On the outside I stood tall, but inside, I was shattered. Looking at the crowd slowly closing in, I didn't resist this time. I logged out of the game directly. Back in the real world, I buried my face in my blanket, the pillow already soaked with tears. I couldn't sleep at all that night. For the next 3 days, I didn't log into the game once. I just drew quietly, waiting for the day I would meet Laura Evans to cancel the contract. 3 days later, Laura called right on schedule, asking to meet at a coffee shop to discuss the contract termination. I didn't refuse. I put on a hat and a mask and went to the address. Unexpectedly, a man was standing next to her. She smiled and introduced him. "This is my boyfriend, Todd Cameron, the game streamer Orion. I'm sure Mr. Hayes has heard of him." Laura's gaze on Todd was as gentle as water. I glanced up and said calmly, "I don't follow game streamers." Todd's face immediately darkened. He huffed. "Laura said she's already paid you enough. If you know what's good for you, finish the design. Don't push your luck, or I'll make sure you can't survive in this industry." I already said I'm not drawing it anymore. I was too tired to argue. I pushed a bank card across the table toward Laura. "I've spoken to a lawyer. This is the breach of contract fee. The pin is 6 zeros. Goodbye." I was about to stand up and leave when Laura suddenly stopped me. "Mr. Hayes, this project is for my boyfriend. It's a dream I've cherished for 6 years. No matter what difficulties we face, I still hope you'll complete this character design. If you have any issues, just tell me, and I'll find a way to solve them." Hearing her words, I clenched my fists so tightly my nails dug into my palms. She could plan everything for Todd, yet be so ruthless to me. I took a deep breath, trying to suppress my emotions, and gave a self-deprecating laugh. "Because I'm Nebula. Is that reason clear enough?" With that, I turned and walked away without looking back. When I got home, I collapsed onto the sofa, feeling like I was about to fall apart. In front of Laura, the dignity I had tried so hard to maintain finally crumbled. After dinner, Laura didn't send any more messages. It seemed everything was over. I tried to force a smile, but tears still streamed down my face. The next morning, a call from my agent woke me up. "Ethan, you're all over the internet." I was instantly wide awake. I quickly opened my phone and saw that I had indeed been posted about online. The content was shocking. This famous illustrator is the same person recognized by the gaming community as the ugliest guy now accused of scamming and breach of contract. Orion had gone live again. In the video, He was crying his eyes out. Everyone knows Laura is developing a game for me. The original character design was commissioned to Nabila. But who knew, out of jealousy, he would suddenly quit when the project was almost finished, delaying the entire game's progress. I just want to say to Nabila, if I've offended you in any way, I am sorry. But please, don't betray the heart Laura has poured into this for the past 6 years. After speaking, he attached a picture. In the photo, I was wearing a hat and mask, but it had been deliberately photoshopped to make me look hunched over. The moment he posted it, the comments section exploded. I used to quite like this artist, but I never knew his character was so terrible. No wonder he's the #1 ugliest guy in the gaming world. He doesn't even dare show his face. So ugly he's scary. At least he's self-aware enough to wear a mask in public, so he doesn't scare people. The flood of insults was overwhelming, even affecting my previous collaboration projects. I frantically tried to call Laura, but I couldn't get through. At the same time, Laura indifferently hung up the phone, her eyes mesmerized by a photo on her computer screen. In the picture was a young man in a school uniform, only his side profile visible. It was the person she'd had a secret crush on in college. After this picture was taken, he completely disappeared. For 6 years, there was no news, making him the eternal unattainable crush of her heart. Todd came up and hugged her from behind. Stop looking at that old photo. Laura, I'm right here in front of you. Why don't you look at me? Laura stared at the photo for a moment, her voice low. You don't look much like the person in the picture. Todd's expressions defiant. He quickly forced a smile. It's been so many years. Who doesn't change? Am I not me anymore? Is that really all it is? Laura didn't answer, her eyes shifting back and forth between the photo and Todd's face. Although his features still had a hint of the past, she felt something was off. Just as I was being viciously attacked by netizens, Todd suddenly called me. His voice was hard. As long as you finish the drawing, we'll let this go. The compensation and commission will be considered emotional damages for you. Go ahead and expose me online, but think about who's going to believe you. I hung up without hesitation. Not only did I refuse, but I also posted a status update. The money has been paid. I will never draw for them again in this lifetime. I've been this way since I was a child. No one can force me to do what I don't want to do. But in the end, I couldn't resist logging into the game. The moment I enter, I was hunted by the entire server. I died several times in a row, almost losing all my equipment. Luckily, I was smart enough to hide the pair of jades in the official warehouse, where they couldn't be dropped. From then on, I learned how to hide my things secretly. This time, I found a remote map and quickly hid in a patch of reeds. As I was hiding, I suddenly heard a soft chuckle nearby. You must be the infamous Nabila, wanted by the whole server, right? My heart stopped. I turned my head toward the voice and saw a woman dressed in black, wearing a mask, lazily lying on a floating log with a fishing rod next to her. If she hadn't spoken, I would have thought she was an NFT. I asked cautiously, are you also here for the bounty to kill me? She chuckled softly, and said slowly, I wouldn't kill someone for such a small amount of money. I'm just curious. Being hunted so miserably, why don't you just hand over the item? I was silent for a moment, thinking to myself, you have to have some principles in life. It doesn't matter if others don't understand. I was about to find a new hiding spot when she suddenly spoke up. Want to hire me to help? I froze. What do you mean? The woman in black said bluntly, use the item they want as payment. I'll help you kill them all in return. What do you say? A deal. With that, she opened her character panel. A shimmering golden title appeared, The Realm's One Assassin. The system's description was even more dramatic. Kills a man in 10 steps, leaves no trace for 1,000 miles. The #1 master of the martial world. So she was the top player on the assassin leaderboard, that mysterious, ghost-like figure, Winter's Chain. Seeing this incredible record, I was so shocked I couldn't speak. I clenched and unclenched my fists. Okay, my voice trembled, but it was firm. Half an hour later, I teleported to the main city of Heavenwood. I walked to the guild base I hadn't returned to in a long time and happened to run into Artemis and Todd coming out of the main gate. The three of us standing together immediately attracted a crowd. This money-stealing dog dares to show his face again. He must have a death wish. Guess the punishment wasn't enough for him. Is he here to beg our hero, Orion, for forgiveness? After scamming our hero out of so much money and breaking his promise, he still has the nerve to beg for mercy. Shameless. Don't waste words on him. I'll kill him 5 times myself. It's a profit for me. The crowd of onlookers slowly closed in. Artemis raised her hand, signaling for everyone to stop, and asked me coldly, what are you doing here? I looked her straight in the eye and said, word for word, I'm here for justice. As soon as I said this, a roar of laughter erupted around us. This ugly Nabila guy has some nerve. He must be crazy. Come on. Let's bet on how many times he dies today. I bet 30 times. Uh-huh. Even Todd let out a faint laugh. Just you. Before I could finish my sentence, a cloud of black smoke suddenly appeared beside me, immediately capturing everyone's attention. The smoke moved like a ghost through the crowd, heading straight for Todd. Artemis reacted extremely quickly, instantly trying to block the attack. But the black shadow was as fast as lightning. After a series of rapid strikes, Todd's face turned pale as he let out a scream, his body dissolving into points of light. Immediately after, a system announcement rang out. Winter's Chain has successfully eliminated Todd, simultaneously achieving 2 achievements. Piercing shot and 1 hit kill. To be able to do that in a town where damage is halved, her strength was truly terrifying. Everyone present paled. The black smoke gradually dissipated, revealing a figure dressed entirely in black, wearing a mask. Although she was deliberately dressed down, the golden title The Realm's One Assassin above her head was incredibly eye-catching. Oh my god, isn't that Winter's Chain? Why did she suddenly appear? I thought someone was using a hack. Even Artemis couldn't fight her. Why is a master like her here? Artemis's expression was extremely ugly. She stared at Winter's Chain, and asked coldly, what is the meaning of this? Do you want to make an enemy of our Crimson Vanguard? Winter's Chain didn't even bother to glance at her, simply saying flatly, a game-wide announcement will be made. From now on, for every time Nabila dies, Todd will also die once. With that, she pulled me away. Although there were many people around, no one dared to stop us. That night, the game forums went crazy. Everyone was talking about Winter's Chain. Isn't this master usually mysterious as a ghost? People offered high prices for her help before and she never showed. Why did she step in for an ugly guy this time? Someone killed Nabila a few times this afternoon, and Winter's Chain really did go and kill Orion. She even stormed into the enemy guild's base. So badass. Isn't this a direct slap in the face to Artemis? I don't get it. First it was Artemis, now it's Winter's Chain. Why are all these top players getting involved with that ugly guy? The forums were in a heated debate. What does winning or losing in a game matter? In real life, Artemis is a powerful CEO, and Orion is a heartthrob. If Winter's Chain and Nabila have what it takes, they should reveal their real identities too, and see who's really more impressive. The next day, he unexpectedly received a private message from Artemis. I'm going to declare a guild war on Winter's Chain. You better stay away from her. Seeing this message, I frowned tightly. Ever since Artemis had let the online rumors spread, condemned Todd's slander, and even issued a kill order on me, any remaining feeling that between us had been completely severed. It was clear she was the one who let go first. I just replied coldly, what's it to you? Then I opened my friends list, and the system prompted me to confirm adding Artemis to my block list. I confirmed without hesitation. Over the next few days, as Todd was repeatedly defeated by Winter's Chain, the kill order on me was finally lifted. Although Nabila was still being cursed by the entire internet, no one dared to hunt me anymore. Everyone was afraid of becoming Winter's Chain's next target. I could finally walk openly on the streets of Heavenwood, but an indescribable bitterness welled up in my heart. Perhaps it was an emotional outburst. I stayed up all night and completed a painting. In the painting, Winter's Chain was wearing the black outfit she had on when we first met, standing on a rooftop overlooking the brightly lit city of Heavenwood. Her cold gaze was like a sharp blade, as if nothing in the world was worthy of her attention. Looking at this painting, my mood was unsettled for a long time. My life had been chaotic lately, but this was a painting I had poured all my heart into, and it was the work I was most satisfied with. I sent Winter's Chain a message. Thank you for being with me these past few days. Besides the item I promised you before, I want to give you a painting. Winter's Chain flatly refused. No need. I didn't think much of it. I took a picture of the painting and sent it to her. Less than 3 seconds later, she changed her mind. Okay, fine. I couldn't help but laugh. Send me your address, and I'll mail it to you. She quickly sent her location. Let's meet in person. I'll treat you to a meal. It's at the new French restaurant that just opened downtown. I hesitated for a moment, but still agreed. We arranged to meet on the weekend. At that moment, in the restaurant, the manager was reporting to Laura at events. Everything has been arranged. Although a few other guests had reservations, we've cancelled them all to ensure nothing goes wrong. For the engagement party on the weekend, she was preparing a surprise for Todd. Todd was ecstatic, but Laura's heart was calm. She didn't understand. She was about to marry the man she had loved for 6 years, so why didn't she feel any excitement? Laura picked up her phone and habitually opened her chat with me. Seeing the words, "What's it to you?" her frustration grew. She stared at the screen for a long time, and finally, Laura couldn't resist sending a message. "I am getting engaged this weekend. Can you come?" The moment she sent it, a red exclamation mark appeared. The other person had removed her from their friends list. Her fingers suddenly clenched, the phone screen turning white from the pressure. The weekend arrived in a flash. I left the house wearing a mask. As soon as I got to the restaurant door, before I could even speak, the hostess quickly waved her hand. "Sorry, the restaurant is booked for a private event today. We're not accepting other guests." I paused for a moment and pulled down my mask. "My friend made a reservation. Could you please check?" But she suddenly fell silent. Looking up, the hostess stared at me, dumbfounded. I gently reminded her, "Miss." The hostess snapped out of her daze, her face flushing red. She nodded frantically. "Oh, yes. You can go straight in." She hurriedly pointed inside the restaurant. After I walked away, she came to her senses, covering her face with her hands and murmuring, "Oh my God, his looks are on another level." No wonder the powerful CEO booked the whole restaurant for him. Inside the restaurant, preparations were in full swing. This proposal was grander than any before. Todd had not only invited local fans to witness it, but had also set up a live stream for fans far away to participate. The atmosphere was buzzing with excitement. "From today on, our hero Orion is our love rival. Stop dreaming. I heard the goddess Artemis is not only beautiful and rich, but also deeply in love. We're lucky just to watch. If you want to say she has one flaw, it's probably being pestered by that Nebula guy for 3 years. If it were me, I couldn't have stood it. I really hope that guy comes to see this. He'd definitely be furious." The sound of an orchestra began, and Laura entered as a shower of rose petals fell from the sky. She pretended to be clueless, covering her mouth in surprise. The entire hall erupted in cheers, and the comments on the live stream exploded. "Isn't this a classic scene from a romance drama? Todd is so handsome, a true prince from a fairy tale. Standing next to our goddess, they're the perfect couple. I can't even blink." Suddenly, a jeering comment appeared. "Really? I think he looks pretty average. He's not as good looking as in the game or on his live streams. At best, he's just conventionally handsome." This immediately drew a barrage of rebuttals. "Are you blind? You call this not handsome? Maybe you prefer the Nebula type. Get lost. If your sense of beauty is flawed, don't drag others down." The people at the scene couldn't hear the war of words in the comments. The atmosphere remained incredibly lively, with waves of cheers. "Say yes." Under the watchful eyes of everyone, Todd walked up to Laura and got down on one knee. "Will you marry me?" Before he could finish his sentence, the main doors were suddenly pushed open. A figure walked in, and the comments immediately exploded. "Who is this? How can someone be so handsome without any special effects?" Laura instinctively looked up, but when she saw the young man's face clearly, her heart skipped a beat. In just a few short seconds, the atmosphere at the scene seemed to freeze, becoming absolutely silent. Someone was about to clap, but their hand froze midair. Someone was so stunned they were speechless, their mouth hanging open. No one at the scene spoke, but the comment section, after a brief pause, began to scroll frantically. "This is the pinnacle of beauty. This is what I imagine when I think of handsome. Are you crazy? Don't compare Orion to this level of handsome. Mortals can't compare to gods." Seeing the crowd in front of me as if someone had hit the pause button, I was also a little taken aback. It was only when I saw the figure kneeling in the center that I realized I had accidentally stumbled into his proposal. I frowned, said sorry, and was about to leave. My words broke the silent atmosphere, and Laura suddenly snapped back to reality. The face of the young man in front of her perfectly matched the side profile photo she had cherished for 6 years. Laura threw all caution to the wind and rushed forward, grabbing my wrist tightly. "What's your name?" I closed my eyes, my voice cold and clear, echoing throughout the restaurant and the live stream. "My name is Ethan Hayes. I'm also Nebula." As soon as I finished speaking, a dead silence fell over the restaurant. The comment section paused for a moment, then exploded violently. "Oh my God, is this a movie script? How can Nebula be this handsome? Listen to his voice. It's definitely Nebula's voice. I used to regret that such a nice voice belonged to an ugly guy." As expected, people with nice voices can't be ugly. Todd's face was incredibly ugly. He stepped forward and pulled Laura's hand. "Laura, I'm sure Nebula didn't mean to ruin our proposal. Don't be angry. Let's go." Todd tried to pull Laura away, but she didn't budge, her eyes still fixed on me. Laura's pupils trembled slightly. She pulled out a photo from her pocket, close to her heart. The person in this photo is you, right? I didn't take it, just glanced down. The photo was indeed of me in high school, taken during a sports festival. I asked her how she got the photo. Before Laura could answer, someone from the side interjected. That photo was posted on the game forums 6 years ago, and then went viral. You didn't know, hero. The person glanced at Todd with a complicated expression, the implication clear. The person who posted the photo back then had the nickname Orion. I thought for a moment. My college roommate's nickname was Orion, but he deleted his account a long time ago. At that time, I was in my senior year of high school, completely focused on my studies. The sports festival was a rare chance to relax. After that photo was taken, I posted it online, and then went back to studying. A few months later, after college entrance exams, I wanted to log back in but found that due to a system crash, my account had been deleted. As soon as I said this, someone in the comments immediately agreed. That's common. There are dozens of people with the nickname Cilantro, and a ton of lollipop, orange, and watermelon too. But it's not that common. It's obvious someone is impersonating him. With that, the people at the scene who were still skeptical immediately understood. Glancing back and forth between me and Todd, the winner was clear. Todd is definitely the imposter. It makes sense. His face clearly has signs of plastic surgery. He probably got it done based on that photo. Shameless. Hearing the continuous laughter, Todd's face turned pale and then green. He anxiously wanted to leave. Laura, you've been with me for so long. You know I'm definitely not that kind of person. I'm sure Nabila didn't do it on purpose. Maybe it's just a coincidence. But unexpectedly, Laura pulled her hand away without even looking at him, her gaze fixed on me. Why? Why did you change your face in the game? She desperately wanted an answer, but I didn't want to get entangled any further. Sorry, I just came to the wrong place. I didn't mean to disturb you. I was about to walk out the door, when it was pushed open again. A tall figure walked in, his face as handsome as a sculpture but exuding a cold, distant aura. Winter's Chain. I looked at the person in front of me. She looked exactly like Winter's Chain in the game, just in modern clothes. Winter's Chain nodded and extended her hand towards me. Sorry, I didn't get the call about the cancelled reservation. Let's go. I'll take you somewhere else. I was about to leave when another hand suddenly grabbed me tightly. Ethan, listen to me. I didn't know the person in the photo was you. Her voice trembled with panic, as if she was afraid the person in front of her would leave. I like you. It's always been you. I've liked you for 6 years. I decisively took a step back, my voice becoming completely cold. Laura, let go. There's nothing between us anymore. As I spoke, Laura froze, and the scene fell into a dead silence. She stared blankly and then let go of her hand. I pulled my hand back, rubbing my sore wrist, and turned to leave. But from behind me, someone suddenly jumped out and shouted, Wait, don't go. Are you really Nabila? You didn't just find some incredibly handsome guy to vent your anger, did you? Otherwise, why would your game character be so ugly? This single sentence stirred up a storm. Rumors rose from the crowd. That's right, is Nabila trying to ruin this proposal on purpose? But finding a guy this handsome is a win in itself. It seems possible. Otherwise, why would he suddenly appear after we've been calling him an ugly guy for 3 years? I had heard too many of these rumors, they didn't affect me at all. I was too lazy to explain and was about to leave, but Winter's Chain beside me suddenly stopped. She turned and looked at the crowd silently, her eyes like frozen ice. When everyone had quieted down, she coolly threw out a single sentence, I'm not blind. Then she pulled me away. Her words echoed throughout the restaurant, and, of course, were heard on the live stream. The comments exploded. Winter's Chain's line was so cool. Isn't she subtly saying that Artemis was blind before? She's not wrong. Look, what's there to compare between Orion and Nabila? Who told Artemis to pick a melon and throw away a diamond before? The incident was still spreading, but I and Winter's Chain had already left the restaurant. A sleek, black Maybach was parked by the roadside. Winter's Chain opened the car door. My fault. Come on, I'll take you to another restaurant. I was going to refuse, but the words died on my lips. It felt wrong, so I swallowed them. I took out the painting and unrolled it in front of her. Sarah, this is the painting I wanted to give you. I hope you like it. Serafina Sarah Vance took it, her tightly knitted brows relaxing slightly. She cleared her throat and reminded me. My name is Serafina Vance. I'm Ethan Hayes, I replied with a slightly embarrassed smile. It feels weird calling each other by our in-game names in real life. The new restaurant Sarah chose was a private kitchen by the river with incredible food. I had assumed this type of place was all style and no substance. Sarah was busy, her head down as she typed on her phone without looking up once, but she didn't miss a single word I said. This is my friend's restaurant. It's not open to the public, so they focus on quality. In other words, it was incredibly expensive. I paused, feeling a little guilty. This must have cost you a lot. I was supposed to be thanking you. Let me get this. Sarah shook her head. No need. If you want to thank me, help me get this. She slid her phone over. On the screen was a poster for the Ethelgard's Dream Annual Duo Tournament. The prize was circled in red. I want this celestial weapon. In return, I'll give you this appearance change token. The token was an item that allowed a player to redesign their character's appearance one time. I'll join the tournament with you, but I don't need the token, I said. Whether I change it or not, the ugly character image doesn't mean anything to me. I don't care what other people think. Sarah's fingers tapped lightly on the table, a faint smile playing on her lips. Suit yourself. After we ate, Sarah drove me home. The online rumors and Todd Cameron's slander, you should handle that yourself. Get on the game. I'll help you grind your combat power back. With that, Sarah hit the gas and drove off. I went back home and opened the game forums, only to find they had exploded. Artemis, Nebula, and Orion, the most dramatic proposal in history. Nebula is the real heartthrob. Orion suspected of being an imposter. I clicked on the thread and saw someone had posted a recording of the proposal. A picture of my unknitted face was placed next to Todd's carefully crafted appearance. The comment section was completely one-sided, this time in my favor. Nebula wins, hands down. He doesn't even need makeup, and he's still miles ahead. See, a real man doesn't need to be dolled up. Next to him, Orion looks so forced, like some trashy new money kid. I've been saying it for a long time, Orion was never that good looking. I thought 6 years had just been unkind to him, but it turns out he was a fake from the start. So shameless. Reading each mocking comment, Todd Cameron nearly crushed his phone screen. Nebula. You just wait. Because of the previous wave of online criticism, my popularity had dropped significantly. Now, preparing for the tournament, I had to train hard. Seeing a friend request from Orion in the game, I paused for a moment. Winter's chain casually slashed a monster that lunged at us. What's wrong? Are you distracted in the middle of a dungeon? Looking at the friend request, I was silent for a moment. It's nothing, just a little surprise. With that, I dragged Orion into my block list. After completing the dungeon, I leveled up twice, but I was still far from my former strength. Let's continue tomorrow. Get some sleep. Winter's chain said and immediately logged off. I stepped out of the dungeon, planning to head back to the city to craft some new items. But the moment I exited, a white barrier shot up in front of me. Looking down, I saw a giant hexagonal sigil at my feet, and the screen transitioned. When I opened my eyes again, I was in a different place, and standing before me was Artemis. My voice turned cold instantly. What is the meaning of this? Are you trying to force me to pay some so-called compensation? The sigil was a one-time item in the game, costing 9,000 real-world dollars, that could forcibly teleport another player to your location. Do you hate seeing me that much? I said calmly, I just don't understand you. Why go to such lengths to find me? There's nothing between us anymore. Artemis's gaze suddenly sharpened. She stepped forward and grabbed my hand, pinning me against a wall. You two work so well together in dungeons. How long have you known each other? Is it possible you were running dungeons with her many times before we even broke up? It was then I realized my combat log viewer was still on. Just because of our good coordination, she suspected I had known Winter's chain all along. She questioned me. Nebula, were you cheating on me? No, I replied calmly. You yourself said that in-game relationships mean nothing. We were just normal gaming partners. If we were just partners, how could there be betrayal? Let alone cheating. These were the exact words Artemis had once said to me. Now, I was returning them to her. I pushed her away and turned to leave. Artemis's voice suddenly softened. What if I told you the person I've liked from the very beginning was you? The person I was looking for all along was you. It was all just a misunderstanding. Are you willing to come back to me? I didn't answer. I just stared at the person in front of me, Artemis, the top-ranked warrior, the hottest topic on the forums, the female gamer with the most fans, with wealth beyond a normal person's imagination. Even her face was so beautiful that no beauty filter could compare. A person like her should be admired wherever she went. No one should dislike her. But why, when I looked at her, did I feel nothing in my heart? I suddenly remembered 3 years ago, during the Mid-Autumn Festival in the game, when we had just met. Because we were both without family by our side. We shared a similar loneliness. We had promised to accompany each other from then on. Time in the game moved twice as fast as in real life. We had been together in the game for 6 long years, but now all that was left was a sigh. I once thought you were special, but you yourself spoke the truth that shattered my illusion. You never loved me. I like you. Artem has cut me off, her every word firm. I've kept your foe for 6 years. The person I've liked from the beginning to the end has only been you. Never anyone else. Even pairing up with someone else was just to get closer to you. Otherwise, why, amidst all the rumors and slander, did I never abandon you? Can't you see after all this time that my feelings for you were real? Her voice trembled, but I just watched her silently, not saying a word. After a long wait, when Artem's emotions had gradually stabilized, I finally spoke. What if I wasn't the person you've liked for 6 years? As soon as the words left my mouth, a flicker of panic crossed her beautiful eyes. If I really wasn't handsome, not the ideal type you fell for, would you still have come back to keep me? Artemis looked at me, suddenly at a loss for words. Silence. And we both knew the answer was no. If I were just an ordinary person, she would never have given me a second glance. But we clearly loved each other. No. I looked straight at her, each word clear and devoid of emotion. You loved me once, and I loved you once. But we were never truly in love at the same time. Whether it was a missed connection, or a misunderstanding, we were destined not to be together. I will never like you again. After speaking, I didn't hesitate. I turned and walked away. My figure vanished before her eyes, leaving only tiny specks of light falling. Artemis reached out to catch a small speck, but she couldn't hold on to it. She watched it dissipate in the wind. I needed to increase my strength quickly. Sarah suggested I start a live stream to promote the game. The system had a rule. If you streamed and got over 1,000 viewers, you would get an experience boost. The effect would multiply from there. I hesitated. Will anyone watch? Although my face reveal had somewhat quelled the rumors, the controversy over the drawing was still unresolved. I was afraid I would be boycotted if I started streaming. Sarah didn't say much, just softly uttered 2 words. Don't be afraid. It was like a powerful shot of adrenaline. Suddenly, all the online rumors seemed insignificant. That night, I registered a new account. I hesitated for a moment when choosing a name, then typed in Nebula. Sarah asked, "Aren't you going to get your old account back?" I paused, thinking of my old handle. I shook my head. No need. After creating the account, I connected directly to the game and started the live stream without any warm-up. After killing a small monster, I looked up and saw the stream room was already flooded with tens of thousands of viewers. Go, hero, for a support player, your skills are amazing, I'll never curse Nebula again. I wish I could be that handsome in my next life. Thanks, everyone. I smiled at the stream. There were so many baseless rumors online, and many people were easily swayed. I wouldn't hold it against those who didn't know the truth. At my smile, the stream room erupted. He just smiled at me. I have no regrets in this life. Amidst the sea of compliments, I saw one comment, "Bro, why are you working so hard? You're a support player, yet you're constantly grinding for power." I smiled and replied gently, "Because I want to be stronger for the tournament." The tournament bracket had been announced the night before. Besides me and Sierra, Laura and Todd were also participating. Everyone was looking forward to the showdown between the 2 pairs. The comments were filled with excitement. Beside me, Winter's Chain quietly added, "If you hadn't been killed so many times before, losing so much experience, you wouldn't have to grind from the start." The comments paused for a moment. Then the screen was filled with apologies. But I wasn't paying attention to that corner of the screen. Winter's Chain swung her sword, cutting down a small monster, the corner of her lips twitching slightly. When the stream ended, I said goodbye to everyone. After leaving the room, I stepped out of the dungeon with Winter's Chain. The light in front of me shifted, then paused for a beat. I was about to say something when a carrier pigeon flew up to me. It was a realistic in-game mail simulation. Regular mail and private messages went through the system mailbox, but a pigeon meant the sender was sending a gift. He opened it. Inside were some experience points and 2 decent items. The message was just one word, "Sorry. I participated in the hunt before. This is to pay you back." I realized it was a form of compensation. As I was about to say something, I looked up to see countless pigeons descending, their tens of thousands of white wings blanketing the sky, turning the space into a pale white. Each letter contained a portion of experience, and each letter said, "Sorry." Seeing each sincere apology, my eyes couldn't help but turn red. In reality, most people are kind. Just as I had thought, it was only because of misunderstandings and the indifference of some that I was targeted. After absorbing all the experience, my combat power soared, quickly returning me to the second rank on the support leaderboard. Orion was still at the top. I was still a little short. Looking at the power rankings, Winter's chain let out a soft sound, then immediately changed the subject. Get some sleep. With that, she hastily logged off. Sight. Sura was always like that, coming and going quickly. She'd log off as soon as the dungeon was done, as if she were always in a hurry, like she was completing a task, not playing a game. Maybe in her eyes, I was just a cooperative partner, not a friend. Thinking this, my eyes drooped, and I logged off too. After logging out, I picked up my phone and saw a message from Lorette Evans. I've transferred the breach of contract feedback to you. You don't need to return the deposit. I'll handle the online situation. The project is terminated. My bank account showed a large transfer. I messaged her back. I won't be taking on any more commissions, but I know a few good artists. Do you need me to introduce you? After all, the game was very well made. It would be a shame to leave it unfinished. The other side showed tipping. For a long time, but finally only sent 2 words, no need. I wasn't planning on making money from it anyway. I didn't say anything more. I understood Laura's meaning. It was all just old misunderstandings, but what was the point of saying it now? I didn't say anything else, stood up, and stretched. It was already dark outside. For so many years, I had just stayed at home drawing, my life almost completely nocturnal. I stepped out the door and bought a few bottles of water, and some instant food from the convenience store. Suddenly, I saw something that piqued my interest. A movie by a comic artist I admired was playing in the ears. I had been so busy lately I had completely forgotten about something so important. Seeing that there was still time, I almost immediately hailed a cab to the theater. By the time it came out, it was late at night. The moment I stepped out of the theater, I felt someone following me. A bad feeling rose in me. I instinctively quickened my pace, but the person behind me stuck close. The faster I walked, the closer they got. Not knowing who it was, I hurriedly turned a corner and bumped into someone. Are you okay? A familiar yet distant voice, a sharp gaze. He looked behind me, then moved forward, turning and restraining the person who was following me. Disturbing public order. You're coming with me. I reacted, surprised. It's you. It was the police officer who had taken me home before. I let out a sigh of relief. I followed him to the police station again. After giving my statement, I came out and saw a woman still in the lobby, seemingly waiting for me. A police officer on duty smiled at me. Look who's out. Our captain was waiting for you. The beauty saved the hero for the second time. What a coincidence. Huh. It was just a harmless joke. I was about to speak when the woman's cold voice cut in. Show some professionalism. It represent the image of the police. Her uniform was immaculate. I quickly waved my hands. It's okay. In the end, I still thanked her. Thank you, officer. It's nothing. I'll take you home. Once again, I was sitting in the passenger seat of her Range Rover, exhausted. She lowered her voice. Next time you're in a situation like this, don't try to fight back. You'll only get hurt if you run into a drum. I paused, looking down. I know. Whether you're a man or a woman, you have to protect yourself when you're out. I was a little embarrassed. Did I know your name? After all, I've troubled you twice. I was planning on sending a commemorative banner. I can't show up and not know your name. Captain of the 1st Criminal Investigation Division, Lena Chen. When we got to my apartment building, I thanked her. Just as I was about to go upstairs, I found the elevator was out of order. Looking at the dark corridor, I hesitated for a moment. Lena's voice came from behind me. I'll walk you up. I let out a sigh of relief and thanked her again, feeling a bit guilty. I'm so sorry. I'll come to the station to give you the banner. My father used to be a police officer. When he was alive, he always talked about commemorative banners. Receiving one of those was worth more than any thank you. The red banner hanging on the wall always made him prouder than anything. Mentioning my father, the wound I had hidden in my heart for so long was suddenly torn open, a sharp, bitter pain. Who would have thought that my father, who had faced death countless times in his life and always came out unscathed, would end up drowning while saving someone? And the girl who had slipped and fallen into the water that day couldn't be saved either. They were both swept away by the flood, never to return. Goodbye, thank you, Captain Chen. I'm home. Let me get you a glass of water. No need, she said, looking up at me and asking, what's your name? Ethan Hayes, I answered truthfully. Ethan Hayes. Lena murmured the name, her eyes darkening for a moment. I hadn't been home for long when I checked the game forums. I found myself at the top of the trending list again. Nebula suspected of being a gold-digging two-timer. A series of sensational headlines were thrown out at once, immediately causing a storm. I clicked to see, and there were several paparazzi photos. Besides me, the photos also included Laura Evans, Seraphine Evans, and even Lena Chen. The anonymous poster wrote, "The #1 heartthrob everyone is talking about, Nebula, is not only involved with two top players in the game but also has a relationship with a strange woman in real life. Looking at that car, you know it's not cheap. Being handsome really has its perks." After that, he changed his tone. But being handsome doesn't give you special privileges. Anyone can achieve this standard with plastic surgery. Although Nebula claims to be all natural, the hospital where he had his surgery is where my friend works. It's a big deal now. I'm not trying to advertise, I just can't stand him marketing himself as natural. The words were firm, and he even attached a few photos as proof. The photos were screenshots from my live stream, with a shadow under my nose circled. Turns out it's a surgical scar. It's not that plastic surgery is bad, but this guy goes under the knife and then claims to be natural on his live stream to make money. I can't swallow that. The comment section, as expected, had people who believed it immediately. I knew it. No one is that perfect. He's probably a product of the knife. Among the suspicious comments, I surprisingly saw a few defending me. Why are you so malicious in your speculation? Wasn't one online storm enough? Do you have to repeat it? I think even if he had surgery, he's still really handsome. A normal person couldn't achieve that. A few photos as proof. Ridiculous. If you're going to be anonymous, don't pretend to be righteous. Seeing these rare comments amidst the sea of malice, my heart warmed up. I was about to post a response when, in that instant, the entire post vanished. I hadn't even figured out what happened when a message from Seraphine Evans arrived. "Sarah, did you see the hot search on the forums?" I replied. "I saw it. It's not me." I had just typed the words, not even sent them, when she sent a long paragraph. "Don't pay attention to it. The finals of the duo tournament this time will be live streamed on site. Players have to cosplay as their characters. Everything will be clear then. Don't worry about the other things." Staring at the screen full of blue message bubbles, I was stunned. This was the first time since I had met Sarah that she had said so much. As I was still dazed, a third message came in. 3. Let's play around. So, I dazedly logged into the game. Winter's Chain quickly started a dungeon party. The whole process was unusually silent. Previously, in dungeons, besides reminding me to be careful of monsters, she rarely said anything else. But today, the silence was different, so different that it made me restless. I awkwardly tried to find a topic. "Have you seen the new movie by director Miyazaki? I went to see it today. It's pretty good." Winter's Chain's movements paused. She suddenly asked a strange question. "Did you go with the person you were photographed with today?" I paused, suddenly understanding. She must have seen the post on the forums and misunderstood something. I went alone. On the way back, I ran into a harasser, then went to the police station. The police officer drove me home. "Oh," Winter's Chain replied as she slashed a monster. Just a single, cool sound, but somehow the awkward atmosphere immediately dissipated. A few days later, the Avil Guard's Dream and Mule Duo tournament officially began. The most talked about pairs were Winter's Chain and Nebula and Laura Evans and Orion. Because of their high power levels, both pairs were seeded directly into the semifinals. They didn't have to compete for the first 2 days, but the forum still kept the topic of the four of them at the top of the list. Perhaps the organizers saw the hype. They actually came up with the idea of having players cosplay their characters on site. Doesn't that mean we'll see who's using beauty filters and who's not? It'll be clear at a glance. The proposal last time was on a live stream with filters, so it doesn't count. Let's see what they really look like under the official cameras this time. Seeing all kinds of opinions in the comments below, I logged out and focused all my energy on the tournament broadcast. Finally, it was the semifinals. Under the watchful eyes of the entire internet, the live broadcast of the competition officially began. The recording location was in Hawaii. I pulled my suitcase downstairs and saw an unexpected person. "Officer Chen, long time no see. What are you doing here?" Lena Chen was wearing a black shirt, but she didn't look weak at all. On the contrary, she exuded a special kind of charm. She was a little surprised and simply explained that she was on a case. As she spoke, her eyes fell on my suitcase. "Are you going somewhere?" "I have something to take care of." I said as I bid her farewell. I have to go. Goodbye, Officer Chin. I hadn't taken 2 steps with my suitcase when I saw Sarah waiting by the road. She was leaning against her car, a slight raise of her eyebrow, her tone tinged with a bit of mockery. So this is the helpful police officer you mentioned? Yeah, I laughed awkwardly. It wasn't the first time I've been harassed and had to go to the police station. Sarah was silent for a moment, then her voice suddenly became serious. This area has a lot of riffraff. Why don't you move? I shook my head. It's not just here. It's everywhere. I've changed jobs countless times, because of harassment. To be honest, I am very scared. Scared of people seeing my face, so every time I go out, I cover myself up completely. In the game, I also turned my appearance down to the lowest setting. After speaking, I gave a self-deprecating laugh. Isn't it ridiculous? But Sarah didn't say anything more. Let's go. We'll figure it out after we land. We were picked up by a private car from the program. At the recording site, men and women were separated for costume and makeup. I followed the staff's instructions. At the door of the men's makeup room, I saw an uninvited guest. Todd Cameron had already finished his makeup and changed into his cosplay costume, but he still looked nothing like the sword demon in the game. He blocked me at the door, his eyes filled with undisguised malice. A wad of cash was thrown on the ground. Todd said arrogantly, Ibila, you should have figured it out by now since Laura hasn't broken up with me. She likes me. Take this money and withdraw from the live stream. Otherwise, I'll make you regret it. Seeing his display of power, I said nothing, just quietly picked up the bills one by one. A look of contempt flashed in Todd's eyes. As expected, a coward with no backbone. I quietly stepped to the side and placed the neatly stacked cash on the table. I am not agreeing to your terms. It's just that every dollar deserves to be respected. If you don't want it, just leave it on the table. Anyone who wants it can take it. With that, I picked up a bottle of mineral water from the table and poured it directly over Todd's head. This is my answer. A bottle of water poured from above, the exquisite makeup on Todd's face immediately smudged, his hairstyle collapsed, and the colors on his face mixed into a dirty liquid that dripped down his neck. He looked utterly pathetic. He screamed, "Are you crazy?" I looked at him coldly. This is just a reminder. I don't want to get angry with you, but that doesn't mean I will never get angry. Todd's face immediately became terrifying. He was about to say something else, but he was about to go on stage and had no time to waste. He had to turn and get his hair and makeup redone. Just you wait. I won't let you off. I stood there, taking a deep breath, then left and sat down at the makeup table. The makeup artist paused for a moment. The production team had placed great importance on this event. From makeup to costumes, everything was top-notch. Although he had done makeup for countless celebrities and models, a makeup artist who had seen many big stages was still stunned for a moment when he saw me. When he came to his senses, the makeup artist murmured to himself, "So beautiful." His movements became even more careful, as if he were tending to a perfect work of art. My makeup style was very simple. After all, with my looks, even at the lowest setting, I hardly needed any makeup. But old habits die hard, and I didn't want to miss this rare opportunity. Halfway through my makeup, I suddenly felt a figure appear in front of me. It was Laura Evans. I asked coolly, "What's the matter?" Laura looked at me, her voice tinged with emotion, sounding a little shaky. "Ethan, do you know why I'm here?" I didn't answer. I knew that for an activity that could be considered pointless, a high-value person like Laura wouldn't waste her time coming here. But even if I didn't understand, I didn't want to pursue it. Whether she came or not had nothing to do with me. But seeing that the person in front of me wasn't giving up, I finally spoke. "Is it because I just poured water on your fine? He's not my fine. The person I love isn't him," Laura immediately retorted. At the end of her sentence, her voice suddenly softened. "I came here for you. I know I was very wrong before. These past few days, I've come to understand. I fell in love with the real you a long time ago. I would remember when you ran dungeons with me, when you healed me in duo matches, when the new couple's outfit came out. The first person I thought of was you. The person I like isn't some online celebrity, it's you. Are you willing to give me another chance?" After she spoke, there was a long silence. Laura's heart felt like it had stopped beating. Finally I spoke. "Laura, actually, I came here for you too." "Really?" She was both surprised and overjoyed, but then she saw me add the second half of the sentence, "to truly defeat you." As the words fell, the air became dead silent. Laura's eyes were filled with disbelief. As she was about to speak again, I gestured for her to leave. Soon after, when all the guests had finished their cosplay preparations, The live broadcast officially began. The first day was a warm-up. Guests just needed to cosplay as their characters and greet the audience. To create a highlight, the production team even printed giant posters of each guest's character and pasted them behind them for a sharp contrast. The most obvious one was Nabila. Among a series of dazzlingly handsome sword demons, he was truly too plain. But the comment section was cheering. Here it comes, here it comes. We're about to see it. The production team is so cruel, putting Nabila next to Todd like that. Whoever's uglier loses. As the warm-up was almost over, the MC took the microphone. Welcome, heroes, to the finals of the Philbard's Dream Duo Tournament. I know everyone can't wait, so I won't be around the bush. Let's welcome all our participating heroes to the stage. As the names were called, contestants came out one by one in their game character costumes. Faces couldn't be changed, but body types could be randomized. So for the first half of the guests, many looked quite different. Ha ha ha, who would have thought the number one warrior would be a bald guy over 200 pounds? And that guy with such a thick health bar is so frail in real life. He looks like he'd go down in one punch. Is it okay to say this? I feel like if this were a Comic-Con, they'd have their pictures posted in the bathroom. This is the first time I've seen someone's cosplay look better than the original character. Haha. Amidst the raucous laughter, it wasn't until Artemis and Winter's chain appeared that the atmosphere calmed down a bit. Oh my god, doesn't she look exactly like the sword demon? Her figure is perfect too. Master Winter's chain must be at least 5'7", right? She really looks like she stepped right out of the game. The lively discussion continued until the main event. Next, let's welcome the number one heartthrob in the game, the top support mage, Orion. Under the spotlight, Orion stepped onto the stage. It was clear that even though this was his second time in the costume, Todd had been meticulous, not missing any detail that could make him look more handsome. But the comments section was still filled with disappointment. He doesn't look that great, does he? The proposal had a filter. Without it, he looks even more ordinary. The comments scrolled by in a flood. Seeing them, Todd gritted his teeth so hard they nearly broke, but he still had to force a smile. Luckily, he had made arrangements beforehand, preparing a little trick before I appeared. The host called the next name. Next, let's welcome our final contestant to the stage. Nabila. Todd was sure he would win, but then he saw a figure step out from the stage lights. A blinding glare. He couldn't see me clearly, but he saw the entire comment screen freeze, then erupt like a volcano. Oh my god, he's so handsome. Is this a god descended to earth? Oh my god, I was just stunned. Not only the cosplay costume, but also the small creative details. This guy is amazing. Seeing the comments completely opposite of what he had imagined, Todd's eyes widened in disbelief. How is this possible? He had clearly arranged for someone to splash me with red paint. As I got closer, he saw that the costume the program had prepared for me was the in-game wedding attire. Under the light of the wedding suit, I looked like I had stepped out of a snow-capped mountain, a celestial being looking down on the mortal world from the ninth heaven. And the so-called red paint had indeed been splashed on me, but it had created an unexpectedly beautiful effect on the white fabric, like red plum blossoms blooming in the white snow, or like blood stains on a pure white robe. Even the red streaks on my face, under my exquisite features, looked like intentionally applied battle wound makeup. The makeup and costume blended perfectly. The touch of red broke away from the original pure look, instead creating a captivatingly tragic and broken beauty. The comments went wild. This is the perfect battle-worn outfit. The idea is brilliant. It's a competition, and everyone else is dressed like pristine immortals. Only Nabila's style truly captures the spirit. Anyone who knows it's a battle-worn costume, but looking at that face, I still feel a pang of sympathy. It reminds me of when he was ganged up on by thousands of people. I feel so regretful. Todd nearly ground his teeth to dust, but he could only watch helplessly. I slowly walked forward and waved at the camera. Hello everyone, I'm Nabila. One sentence sent the comments into another frenzy. At this point, who cares if he had plastic surgery? He could have my heart, liver, lungs, and kidneys. I am willing. Oh my god, standing next to him makes Orion look so ordinary. It was true. To create a strong impression, the organizers had placed our posters side by side, and our standing positions in real life were also next to each other. On the poster, Orion's face was edited to be 100 times more handsome, so of course, he looked much better than Nabila's face, which had been reduced in beauty by 100 times. But the reality was the complete opposite. This juxtaposition, in just one night, sent a picture of Orion with the comments straight to the top of the search rankings. The on-site proceedings continued. After my introduction, I returned to my spot. It was a coincidence, really. The original white wedding suit the program had prepared would have suited me better with Artemis, but because of those red paint streaks, it now became a perfect match with Winter's Chain's black formal wear. A match made in heaven. The comments immediately exploded with shipping. They're so perfect together. It's like a groom who can't bear to leave before the wedding. The person he truly loves is waiting for him. The production team is so evil. It feels like Artemis is being cheated on. And Artemis's eyes look so lonely. She's looking at him. Can we get another taste of the old ship? After briefly introducing the competition rules, the MC said, "Today we're not keeping score, but we can still have a friendly match to liven things up. Each guest will draw lots to choose an opponent for an exhibition match. No winners or losers. Just for fun." The lottery results were announced. To my surprise, I had thought that, as was the program's habit, there would be some behind-the-scenes arrangement to pair me with Artemis or Orion. But the person I drew was the number one warrior, the burly bald guy. The comment immediately filled with worry. It's over. Baldy is no pushover. He's a tanky warrior. A normal person has neither his damage nor his health. They just get worn down. Not only that, everyone knows how Baldy plays. He just steamrolls with brute force. Our hero is probably done for this time. The bald guy looked at me and smirked. This isn't a beauty contest. I'm not one of those girls who only cares about looks. But if you're willing to kneel and beg me, call me big brother, I might let you off. Cut the crap. The moment I finished speaking, the bald guy's face changed. His fleshy face became ferocious, his muscles tensing. Don't think being handsome gives you a free pass. I don't care if you're good looking or not. You pissed me off today, and I'm going to humiliate you. Humiliating someone meant that by the end of the match, the opponent would be dead, while he would still have full health and buffs, making the opponent's entire effort a waste. It was a great dishonor in the game. I clenched my fists, but my voice remained calm. I'll return those words to you. If I'm going to kill you, I'll do it the same way. As soon as I said this, the hall was in an uproar. It's over. I have a feeling Nebula is going to get wrecked in this match. His skills are decent, but he's still just a support. He's at a disadvantage from the start. People were discussing it, and the forums even opened a betting pool. Everyone was placing their bets. The odds for the bald guy to win were 99. Who's that one? Does someone really think Nebula can beat Baldy? That's what he called true love. I'm not throwing my money away. I don't want to lose my pants. Amidst the heated debate, the betting closed. The odds appeared on the screen. In the Nebula column, there was only one lonely avatar. The comments exploded. Oh my god, I know who it is. It's the great master Winter's Chain, so rich and willful. If Nebula loses, she'll have to pay for everyone's bets alone. The director, very professionally, immediately panned the camera to Winter's Chain. She was sitting in the observation area, her long legs crossed, one hand holding her phone, calmly watching the scene as if winning or losing didn't matter. As long as the person she cared about was happy, that was enough. The screen was filled with comments of "so beautiful." The match began. 3, 2, 1. Fight. As the whistle blew, the bald guy, relying on his thick health, and I, just a support with no initial burst damage, heard a furious roar as he charged straight at me. He immediately used his signature move, Meteor Hammer, swinging it down with great force. Almost no one could dodge this attack. But seeing the weapon about to sweep towards me, I just smiled faintly, and, with a twist, slipped behind him. Boom! A deafening explosion rang out as the meteor hammer hit empty air. Before the comments could even express their shock, they saw that I had dodged the fatal blow. Wifey tapped lightly in the air, like a falling leaf. I spun and landed, revealing the obsidian sword in my hand, drawing a sharp, cold line across the bald guy's back. The commentator's voice suddenly held a hint of hesitation. Yes, we just saw a Nebula, in a 0.1 second window, dodge the bald guy's attack, and even immediately close and from behind to deal damage. A very beautiful move. It's just that compared to the bald guy's health, the damage Nebula dealt is almost negligible. What will happen next? Let's continue to watch. On the field, the two of us created some distance. Feeling the dull itch in his back and seeing the drop of blood on my blade, the bald guy laughed coldly. Not bad. But do you think you can kill me with these little tricks? You'd have to hit me 10,000 times. I only need one hit. I wasn't provoked at all. I just looked at him coolly and said, word for word, what if you can never touch me? The match time was extended indefinitely. Half an hour passed, and it still wasn't over. The comments were almost silent, with only a few sparse exclamations floating by. Even the commentator had forgotten to speak. Everyone was engrossed in the match. It wasn't really a match, more like a one-sided game of cat and mouse and a slow execution. My figure was like a bewitching red butterfly fluttering across the battlefield. Every time I got close, I would leave a long cut on the bald guy's body. The sword in my hand was a celestial weapon dropped from a demon boss. Although its damage wasn't high, it had a stacking bleed effect. His health was slowly draining, and he still couldn't touch me. The bald guy's mentality was on the verge of collapse. He roared madly, his meteor hammer spinning like a storm, but he couldn't even touch the hem of my clothes. At this moment, the arena was no longer an arena, but my personal stage. And the so-called opponent was just a clown in this perfect performance. Finally, the bald guy's health bar bottomed out. He let out a final roar and collapsed. I landed lightly, brushing the dust off my clothes. Looking at the stunned crowd, I said softly, "Humiliation." The entire hall erupted. The comments exploded. "Oh my god, that was a true humiliation. So cool. When did Nabila get these movement skills? I thought he was just a pretty face. Can someone clip that? I want to learn it so badly. He executed a perfect humiliation. And Balti. That's the tankiest warrior on the entire server." The comments were in a frenzy. On the field, the bald guy ripped off his helmet. "You dare to play me? I'll show you," he shouted and was about to charge, but he was held back by the security on both sides. Just then, the comments started to raise suspicions. Is he cheating? Baldi is a top server player. How could he be humiliated like that? If it were Artemis or Winter's Chain, I wouldn't say anything. But Nabila was so weak when he was ganged up on by thousands of people before. How did he get so strong? All the suspicions fell on me. I didn't refute them. Only when the MC asked me to share my thoughts did I open my attribute panel. The agility stat of 99 appeared, and the comments instantly went silent. Normally, this stat ranged from 60 to 70. Over 80 was considered master level. 99 was practically the highest on the entire server. Seeing the comments gradually quiet down, a slight curve appeared on my lips. I have nothing to say. Just, if you're weak, practice more. As soon as I finished speaking, the hall was silent for a moment, then erupted in laughter. Ha ha ha, so savage. Not only did he kill him, but he also stabbed his pride. So Nabila sacrificed his other stats to max out his speed. To stack one stat like that, he must be really confident in his movement skills. The bald guy finally reacted and flew into a rage, trying to break free from the security guards, but he was restrained again and dragged off the stage. The MC had to step in. Next, please take a short break. We will quickly move on to the next friendly match. I bowed politely to the camera and went back to the waiting area. I heard a sound next to me that sounded like for real. I looked up and saw Sira sitting there. She wasn't looking at me, just at her phone screen, her long eyelashes not hiding the smile at the corners of her eyes. Quite successful. This money can be considered you treating me to coffee. After saying that, Sira even shook her phone in front of me as if showing off her prize. I was stunned for a moment before I understood it was about the bet. Although the initial amount the program had limited was small, because so many people had bet wrong, the amount that poured into Sira's account was at least 5 figures. I was a little surprised, but still smiled faintly. After the recording, let's go for coffee. My treat. Sira paused for a moment, but she didn't say anything more until the recording was over. When everything was finished, we went to a coffee shop together. Sira gently stirred her coffee and couldn't help but ask, "When did you learn that fighting style?" Because when we were running dungeons together before, she had never seen me display such strength. When she placed the bet, she was just trusting me. She didn't expect this surprise gift. It wasn't the first time she was surprised, but this time, Sira secretly thought, this version of me was much more interesting than she had imagined. I explained, I guess this live broadcast wouldn't be just a normal duo competition, so I found a way to practice a unique fighting style that suited me. As long as I don't run into that guy, I'm almost guaranteed to win. I said with a light laugh. Sira was stunned for a moment, then cleared her throat. What was with your outfit today? Thinking about it, I sighed and recounted the whole story. With every sentence, Sira's face darkened, becoming as black as the bottom of a pot. She never expected that even at this stage, someone would use such dirty, childish tricks. Let me handle it. I'll make him regret it, Sira said, picking up her phone and tapping a few times. But I stopped her. Wait. Let him finish the competition. Sira paused, and looked at me with a confused expression. It would clearly only take half an hour to ruin Todd's reputation, expose all his dirty tricks, and get him kicked out of the program. Why wait until after the competition? Seeing the confusion in her eyes, I cleared my throat and explained, the final round of the program. I'm guessing we'll be up against them. I understand the organizers' intentions very well. In fact, if my story hadn't blown up online, this duo competition wouldn't have needed to be a live offline broadcast without a special reason. It's all for the views. At that time, even without cheating, based on my understanding of Laura, they definitely wouldn't be eliminated before the finals. And I'm just as confident in myself and Sarah, so our two teams facing off is a sure thing. I want to win, for real, just once. As the words fell, the atmosphere suddenly became quiet. Sarah looked at me for a while before she lowered her eyes, a barely perceptible smile on her lips. She suddenly remembered the first time she met me. Back then, Sarah just thought this guy was too stubborn, always bringing humiliation upon himself. But now, she felt something different shining brightly, as if it was meant to be. The real me, this is what I should be. No matter how many obstacles, I would stand strong and not fall. Sarah suddenly felt angry, so angry it was uncomfortable. I had been isolated by the entire social network, bullied without being able to clear my name. She was angry at herself for standing by. If only she had stood behind me from the beginning to support me. 1,000 thoughts swirled in her heart. But when she opened her mouth, only one word came out. Okay. Then let's weigh in, just once. I went to the beach. Before, because of my body image issues, I hardly ever left the house and had never traveled. Growing up inland, I had never seen the sea with my own eyes. This was the first time. The sea breeze at night was a bit cold, carrying the unique relaxation of the ocean, dyeing the waves, the sand, and the sky in different shades of light and dark blue. The rippling surface of the sea shattered the moon's reflection, only to piece it back together into a perfect circle. I wrapped myself in a cloak and walked alone to the shore. The evening tide washed over my ankles, a chilling sensation. That was the first feeling. I looked up and realized it was a full moon today. It was also the first time I had marveled at how big and round the full moon was. The moonlight covered the transparent sea, and my heart suddenly felt light. I took a deep breath and let it out slowly, as if releasing all the burdens I had accumulated for so long. I remembered back then, the thing my parents worried about most when they were alive was my reclusive personality. They were afraid I would be bullied. Even when he heard the news of his father's sacrifice while saving someone, he still managed to say one last thing, handing a lunchbox to a passerby. This is my son's lunch. It can't get cold. But when I received that lunchbox at the funeral home, it was already ice cold. The rice grains were as hard as stones, and even my favorite sweet and sour pork was dried and hard to swallow. But I still ate it all. In the funeral home, in front of my father's white, shredded body, I ate every last grain of rice in the box. The cold went from my mouth to my stomach, tears falling into the rice, bringing a salty, fishy taste to my mouth. It was hard to swallow, but it was also like the most delicious meal of my life. I would never forget it. The only thing echoing in my mind was what my father used to say, Ethan, you have to protect yourself. He always said my personality was too soft, and he was afraid I would be bullied. Even in death, he couldn't rest easy. But now, as I looked at the latest keywords on my phone, the posts I had once tried to squeeze into to explain, the apologies in the comment section of my account. Even because of this, more and more major brands were starting to contact me for collaborations. It seemed like everything was finally getting a good response. I took a deep, long breath and let it out, looking up at the dark blue sky and murmuring softly, Dad, you can rest easy now. I've learned how to fight back. The sea wouldn't answer me, and neither would the sky. I was about to leave when I heard a familiar voice behind me, Ethan Hayes. This voice was so familiar I had heard it countless times before. It was Laura Evans. For 3 years, how many times had I longed to hear her call my name, as if just being with her, even talking about nonsensical things, would become especially meaningful. But this time, when I heard it, there was no joy in my heart, only a sigh. I slowly turned around and saw Laura walking up to me, handing me a can of cocktail. I remember you said you really wanted to go to the sea. I paused for a moment. It was true that I had dreamed of it before. When my heart was only filled with the image of Laura, I had hoped to meet her in real life, for the two of us to step out of the online world and become a real couple. So I must have mentioned wanting to go to the sea, wanting to see the sea, or hoping Laura would say, I want to go too, let's go together. So now, hearing her say this, I was a little surprised. I didn't expect Laura to remember, but she only remembered half of it. I looked at her, my voice cold. Laura, I told you, I'm allergic to alcohol. Previously, when I was still working, I had complained countless times about parties and harassing bosses. I was really allergic to alcohol. Yet they still forced me to drink. I had said things like that countless times. Because back then, besides Laura, I had no one to confide in. But clearly, she had forgotten all of it. Laura froze, her hand holding the can awkwardly withdrawn. Sorry. I forgot, she said, her voice slightly trembling. I didn't expect you to be so good, defeating a top warrior to the point of humiliation. I didn't answer, just said coldly, what do you want? Laura paused, her voice laced with a weak tremor. Have you reached the point where you don't even want to talk to me anymore? What should I do? Didn't we become sworn enemies the day you issued a kill order on me? Did you know that the game simulates 20 of pain to force players to restrain themselves and not easily start fights? But even if it's only 20, being slashed by countless people one by one is like being dismembered by 1,000 cuts, 1,000 arrows piercing my heart. The Nebula who once like Artemis died completely in that disaster. Amidst the ridicule, the humiliation, crying out to the heavens that wouldn't answer, to the earth that wouldn't listen, and I could only die numbly again and again, until my heart turned to ashes. The space was now silent, with only the sound of the raging sea wind swallowing the two of us. After a long while, Laura let out a soft sigh and looked up at the full moon by the sea. Do you know why I wanted to pair up with you 3 years ago? I was silent. Laura continued on her own. Your old account, besides that photo, was all diaries and trivial things. I read every post over and over again. Later, when I saw you being chased all over the map by small monsters, I immediately thought of that person. But later I thought Orion was you, because he used the same name and his face was a bit similar. For a single glance of surprise in that photo, Laura Evans, waited for 6 years. 6 years of wholeheartedly loving that person. And now you're telling me I'd push the person I like away with my own hands. How could I not regret it? How could I be willing? Ethan Hayes. Laura took a deep breath, her tone heavy. Can we start over? I looked at her silently. The moment I had imagined countless times was now happening right in front of me, but my heart didn't stir at all. No, A replied. No reason needed. Laura's heart felt like it had fallen into an abyss, her fingers clenching so tightly they trembled. I looked straight at her, my eyes calmer than the sea. Because I really don't like you anymore. Laura, don't make me start to hate you. As soon as the words fell, it was like a clap of thunder tearing through the sky. But it was also like the gloom after a thunderstorm. It was clearly a clear day, but the thick moisture in the air was still suffocating in my chest. Laura stood there stunned, as confused as a child who had made a mistake. The surroundings were terrifyingly quiet. She seemed to hear the sound of her own heart breaking, piece by piece, until the place where her heart was completely empty. After a long while she let out a bitter laugh, her voice tinged with awkwardness. How cruel. Ethan Hayes, you're so cruel to me. Clearly, just one explanation would have given us the happy ending everyone wanted, but we were just a little bit short. Maybe so, I replied indifferently, but I didn't feel any regret, only a soft sigh. It was only at this moment that I deeply understood that love could really disappear. The love that had helped me through long nights, the feelings that had once seemed endless. Now, they had quietly slipped through my fingers, leaving not even a trace. Neither of us said anything more. After a long while, I turned and left. I'm heading back. Wait. Laura called me again. Her voice was hesitant. Can we be friends in the future? I know you didn't take the money and run. I also know you're not that kind of person. Can we be like we were before? Even if we can't be together, let me make it up to you. Protect you, okay? She said, almost begging. In a life where she had been cherished by countless people, she suddenly became so small and pitiful. But I just listened quietly and let out a faint laugh. Look at yourself. You clearly knew I was being framed and hurt. But at that time, you didn't stand up, you didn't speak up for me. Instead, you stood on the side of the person who hurt me, even trampling me to the very end. I turned and left, leaving Laura and the beach I had longed for so long behind me. The next day, when I arrived at the studio, what I saw was Serafina Vance with large dark circles under her eyes. Didn't you rest well? Yeah, she replied softly, not saying anything more. I didn't ask much, just glanced at Laura on the other side. She seemed to have returned to her former self, cold and arrogant, sitting upright like a flower on a mountaintop. But Todd Cameron was nowhere to be seen. The MC took the microphone and said, sorry for the wait, everyone. Before the match begins, I have some unfortunate news to announce. Orion will be temporarily withdrawing from this competition due to health reasons. His teammate, Artemis, has decided to participate in the rest of the competition on her own. As soon as the words fell, The entire hall was in an uproar, and the comments flooded the screen. No way. He withdrew. Is he running because he knows he can't win? If I were him, I'd run too. To be paired with such a great beauty and still call yourself the #1 heartthrob is a disgrace. But honestly, Artemis is still so cool. She's fighting on her own. She might still win. In fact, many people here believe that Artemis could still defeat her opponents on her own. The comments exploded with all kinds of opinion. I glanced at Sarah and frowned slightly, signaling, "Did you do this?" Sarah shook her head, a hint of confusion in her eyes. It was clear she had intended to do something, but someone had beaten her to it. Before she could figure out what was going on, the MC began to announce the proceedings. Next up is the semifinals. 8 teams will compete. We will draw lots to pair them up for each match. Before he could finish, Laura suddenly stood up. Can we not draw lots? Her eyes fell directly on me. I have someone I want to be. As soon as she said this, the entire hall exploded. Oh my god, what did I just see? Artemis, is this a public declaration of war? It's obvious, isn't it? After saying that, her eyes swept over to Winter's Chain and Nebula. It's so obvious. But this is just the semifinals. If they fight now, what's there to watch later? He clearly realized the problem and was a bit troubled. Artemis, are you sure you don't want to reconsider? According to the rules, everyone has to draw lots. Although yesterday's broadcast had far exceeded the program's expectations, reaching explosive ratings on the first day, they clearly didn't want to miss this wave of heat. Laura just said calmly, my teammate has already withdrawn. If the rules can't be changed, I'll withdraw as well. As soon as she said this, the program no longer hesitated. Because this level of discussion was more than anything else. The MC smiled and asked, so, who are the 2 heroes that Artemis wants to face? As expected, she pointed at me and Sierra. The comments exploded again. Oh my god, it's really happening. The battle of the century, they say kings don't meet. Now the 2 kings are really facing off. Aha, I'm holding my pee to watch this. Place your bets, who's going to win? The broadcast room had never been so lively. I leaned close to Sarah and whispered a few words, then slowly stood up. There's only one person on the other side. It's not honorable for us to win. No, let me fight her. As soon as I finished speaking, the comments exploded. What is Nebula doing? Is he overconfident? That's Artemis, not Baldy. If Winter's Chain had said that, I would have applauded. But Nebula, isn't that a bit arrogant? No matter what the discussion was, everyone could only watch with wide eyes. I walked onto the stage alone. The match began. The starting signal sounded, but neither of us moved immediately. Artemis looked at me, her voice tinged with complexity. Time flies. I remember the first time in the arena. I was the one who taught you how to carry the flag. In just 3 years, you're standing on the opposite side of me. If this is a taunt, it's too we. I said as I drew my sword and charged forward. This time, I will win. My speed was extremely fast. In an instant, I was in front of Artemis. She raised her sword to block, then unexpectedly twisted her wrist and counter-attacked with a stab. It was Artemis' fastest and most fatal move, taking advantage of an opponent's opening during an attack. Almost no one could defend against it. They could only be taken down in one move. But this time, that sword was stopped mid-air by another sword. The blades clashed, sending sparks flying. Impossible, only a few top players can dodge this move, but no one has ever blocked me. How is this possible? Amidst the surprised gazes of countless people, I'd landed firmly, drawing a light sword flower. Have you forgotten? I was with you for 3 years. No one understands your every move, your every sword technique, better than I do. With that, I charged forward again. But this time, there were no more obstacles. The sword plunged straight into Artemis's chest. I froze, looking up, only to meet a pair of smiling, relieved eyes. I surrender. Artemis looked at me, each word firm. Nebula, you won. The match ended immediately after she surrendered. No one suspected anything. No way she let him win. Look again. I slowed it down. In the last frame, in just 1 second, he really blocked that sword strike. A top 10 assassin on the national server personally confirms this. I peaked with Artemis last year. That same move took me down in 1 hit. I still haven't figured out how to counter it. Nebula is really skilled. I told you so. I made a smarter bet this time. I bet on Nebula, and now I'm just waiting to collect my winnings. Looking at my team's promotion effect on the screen, my mind was still wandering. In fact, I had no confidence at all at the beginning. I just stepped onto the stage with the determination to win. I didn't expect to actually block that sword strike. Looking at the sword in my hand, I realized my hand was trembling. Turning around, I saw Sarah had already come up to me. "You won," she said calmly. But those words were like a hook pulling me back to reality. I was about to speak when Lyra walked over. She extended her hand and gave a self-deprecating laugh. "Maybe I really can't beat you." This time, I didn't refuse. The two hands clasped in mid-air, leaving only congratulations. In the following matches, as expected, Sarah and I went all the way to the championship. When the scores were announced, my score was even 0. 2 points higher than hers. She let out a soft sigh and joked that maybe I was better suited to being a lone wolf. I didn't answer, just smiled faintly. After the finals, my social media account gained hundreds of thousands of followers. A single photo would be flooded with comments praising me. "So handsome. Where did you get that shirt?" Every compliment was devoid of any malicious scrutiny. It turned out the world outside wasn't as dark as I had once thought. Or perhaps it was these fans who had personally built me an umbrella called confidence. Therefore, when the appearance change token was officially awarded, I decided to change back to my real face. Sarah was in full agreement. "Use your own face. We'll look so much better in the new couple's outfits." That very night, she set off 10 consecutive server-wide firework displays in the game to propose to me. I held the beauty in my arms and teased, "What's wrong? You don't like this face?" "I like it," Sarah replied without hesitation. "But using your real face will be like we're really in that world together. I want to travel with you in that world, go everywhere. Can't we? Besides, even if it's not for me, are you willing to use this edited face to hold the title of the #1 heartthrob on the entire server?" After Todd withdrew, he was arrested for invasion of personal safety and defamation. The person who handled the case was Lena Chen. "Officer Hayes, so you're also in the police force. I've heard a lot about you since I was transferred here. I really admire you. As the son of a fallen hero, if you ever need anything, just come to me." I laughed. "Then thank you." After the incident was exposed, Todd's account was permanently banned. The title of #1 heartthrob, voted by the community, was given to me. Today, I finally received the appearance change token. Stepping into the long, opened appearance editing system, a huge screen displayed my real face. The system reported, current appearance value is 0. My finger paused over the confirm button, then I playfully dragged the stat bar to 100. System notification, model creation failed. Please try again later. I dragged it down to 90, still failed. 70 failed. 20 failed. Finally back to 0. The system displayed, registration successful. Welcome to the world of a Felguard's dream.